Hello, I'm Marianne and I'm mum to Elliot, who's going to be 1 year old next week. Before I was pregnant, I didn't know that much about breastfeeding other than what I'd seen from my friends with babies, and they completely normalised it for me, but I knew they hadn't always found it easy. Even though it was something I couldn't really imagine myself doing until I found out I was expecting Elliot. As soon as I found out I was pregnant, my mindset changed and I knew it was something I really wanted to do. I didn't do any specific research beforehand, I just made sure my diet was a bit healthier, took pregnancy vitamins as well. And thinking about it, whilst the TV is full of programmes about healthy eating and how to cook for your family, I don't think I've ever seen anything specific about how to feed a baby. So unless you search for it, there isn't actually much information around you about breastfeeding. I did know that breastfeeding gives you the best start for your baby, and that the first milk after birth is especially important because baby receives your antibodies, and the longer you breastfeed for, the greater the benefit for your baby as well. I also knew that breastfeeding can reduce the incidence of certain cancers for mum, and I think also after seeing my friends feeding when we were out and about, breastfeeding also seemed a good way of maintaining some freedom, as you don't have to worry about taking enough bottles with you. You don't have to worry about sterilising or whether there's any clean water around it to make up formula milk. And my mum also told me that breastfeeding is a really lovely way to bond and relax with your baby. So Elliot's dad and I signed up for NCT when I was expecting Elliot, which included a full day's session about breastfeeding for both of us to go to. And we found it really interesting, and it explained how clever breastfeeding is. I had no idea milk changes and provides extra antibodies if your baby's ill, or if you're ill in fact, or if it's a hot day, the milk changes so the baby remains hydrated. But on the mechanics of feeding, it focused on how to get feeding right first time rather than what to do if you struggled. But as a takeaway, the breastfeeding lady, she gave us a list of places to go, places to contact if we did need any help. My midwife also discussed with me whether I intended to breastfeed when I was pregnant, and she gave me some NHS information and told me about breastfeeding clinics where I would be able to go to. And it turned out this was all really great information to have to hand, as I did get incredibly sore when I started breastfeeding Elliot. So we made the most of all of these support services. But having someone to talk to and show us how to try different feeding positions to promote healing was really helpful, and eventually it did all come right. So I had Elliot pre-COVID, and we were lucky enough to have a number of children's centres open close by running breastfeeding clinics, and the midwife and health visitor recommended these to us, and they were great. The health visitor also came to my home a few times to take a look at what we were doing and offer advice, which was really nice. And the NCT practitioner, as well as helping me directly over the phone, she recommended that I look up the Association of Breastfeeding Mothers. So we went to one of their drop-in sessions, and they were really helpful, and they also do really good cake and a cup of tea. As for online help, there's lots of really good information on the UNICEF website. The health visitor and the NCT lady recommended looking up information on UNICEF about laid back or relaxed feeding position to promote healing if you have cracked nipples, which we did, and it worked a treat, which I have to admit I was really surprised about, because at the time before I tried it, it did sound a bit new age to me. I would say go with your gut feeling if you are thinking about trying breastfeeding, and plan to do what you feel is best for both you and your baby. When you are pregnant, take a look around for local breastfeeding support services so you know where to go if you do experience any problems, and also take the time to look after yourself. Eat healthily and treat boobs well, as they'll be working really hard for you both. having a well-fitting maternity bra I found is also really important. Plus, just speak to your friends about their own experiences with feeding their babies too. So I think how you feed your baby is very much a personal choice, but for us it took probably 10 weeks for everything to settle down, but I'm really glad I stuck with it. It's allowed us a lot more freedom to go out and about and travel with Elliot. If anyone is worried about any reaction from the public when breastfeeding, I can honestly say we've had nothing but a positive experience, and everyone's been really lovely. Cafes, restaurants, even airlines have all done their best to make sure we're really comfy when we're feeding. And it's really possible to be discreet without having to fork out a lot of money on specialist feeding clothes or a breastfeeding cover-up. I did have some of this, but I found it was actually really complicated, and actually just a normal loose fitting or button up top plus maybe a light scarf or a large muslin are perfect. And finally, if you are struggling with feeding but you do wish to continue, just get help. After being discharged from your midwife, help and support isn't always forthcoming, so unfortunately you do need to seek it out quite often, but it really is worth it. And if anyone asks you, why not just try giving a little bit of formula if you are struggling. It's probably coming from a really well-meaning place because they care about you and want to help. But always go with your instinct and just do whatever you feel is best for you both.